Hi, Zizaran here, and I wanted to make a quick sum up video of the build I played in the Badger Private League. It was like a event, and I have a separate video talking about how I felt it went and stuff. But I wanted to make a video specifically about the Eye of Winter build that I shamelessly stole from Dirty Dan. And honestly, if you're not familiar with Dan, just I think it's PoE Dan79 or Dirty Dan79. I'm not sure which one it is because one's on Twitch and one's on Path of Exile. But if you search Dan Path of Exile, it's the first choice that comes up, I'm pretty sure. And it's just a good place to steal the best builds in Path of Exile. So that's what I thought. I was like, let's do this. And the problem with Dan is that he sources some really fucking insane gear because usually he's making new builds that people aren't playing. So a lot of the gear is very, very cheap for him and easy to get. So it's Eye of Winter. And as you can see in the background, it is clearing well. When I was playing with support, it was absolutely insane. There might have been better builds for that, like Penance Brand, for example. But again, not things that I'm really familiar with. But this in general was a build I'm not really familiar with. So I've given away all the gear on the character because I don't play standard. And we found some really crazy shit, especially the Watcher's Eye, that I know that people that actually play standard, I gave it away to the support player I was playing with because that's 5 mirrors on standard. It's the best item I've ever found, and people are like, why don't you keep it? It's like, okay, well, I mean, that's something other people can use on standard. Whereas for me, it would just be like a trophy to be like, oh, dude, look at this cool item I found. So we gave that away. And we can talk about the start of the build. I just early on did like, the normal Orb of Storms, Stormblast Mine, Elemental Overload, the dual wielding nodes. And I did that until level 38. And then I switched to Eye of Winter with Pierce. I tried Chain first, but that wasn't great early. It was pretty okay early, and it got worse and worse the closer I got to maps. When I got to maps, I had a terrible experience. It was a very weak build without things like Snake Pit, and it really needs a lot of gear to pop off. Definitely wouldn't say it's one of the strongest builds, and I feel more like it's something you force. There are other builds that are like easier or better to do. Very fun to play Frozen Orb though, so that's cool. And when you do get to the level of gear that Dan has, let's see, we can open up his character. You can see that he has insane stuff. This is on hardcore. Series Reflection, Void Battery, those were easy. But then you have the helmet, which is +1 power charge. Presence of Tula, that's easy. Snake Pit, easy. I'm surprised he doesn't have a corrupted one, actually. But then if we start looking at a lot of the other gear, obviously he has a +1 shavs. Kind of surprised he doesn't have an power, but probably doesn't work out to be better. This is his boots. Movement speed with Onslaught, Elusive on Crit Strike, elevated mods, and it's just absolutely insane. It's incredibly strong boots. Pretty crazy gloves here as well. He has very, very good jewels and stuff like that as well. He has like 2 perfect jewels, a lot of good mediums, and other stuff in general. We did end up with some decent gear. Didn't manage to get like perfect or very good clusters, but we managed to get the important ones, which was like Blast Freeze and Disorienting Display. That's like very, very important for the build. Other than that, the rest was just damage. And I managed to get, I was doing dual wielding Void Batteries. Crown of the Inward Eye, we couldn't afford like the 2 gold oils for the anointment. We have a shavs. We have some very basic gloves, like just resist, very little AES. Sintrek is my boots. They're really, really good for like early ES builds. Presence of Tula, a Sibyl's Lament to be Reflect Immune, because we were doing Uber Zeri, and then Snake Pit, which I double corrupted for Zealotry Aura Effect, which didn't really help because it doesn't help the Aura Effect on me. But the lightning damage helped. Well, this belt, yeah, obviously in a very short time, you have limited access to things, and I don't think I considered that enough, like how little time it is, and there's so many other people that need a lot of gear too. Definitely will plan better next time. So here you can see there's a few points missing. I was re-speccing a lot, so I would normally have like these as well. This was the insane Watcher's Eye. 30 energy shield gained for each enemy hit by affected by discipline, 10% max as or max mana as extra energy shield, and pen. This is an insane Watcher's Eye, and it ended up being a triple Watcher's Eye for the build I was playing. lightning was a surprisingly large part of my damage because we had the damage from Smite from one of the aura bots. I was on the Sigil of Power thing, giving a lot of lightning damage. So I think it was 30 or 40% of my damage was lightning. So it was actually surprisingly good. This is like 5, 6, 7% more damage. And it turns out this is like 5 mirrors or close to it on standard, and God knows how much it will be on expedition. So yeah, that's the one I gave away. And we found that on our second or third Uber Elder, me, Hornet, and Railer. And yeah, insane. And the build did start like getting pretty decent. I was able to solo bosses by the end with this gear, but for a long time it was pretty rough. Eventually we ended up switching the build to be completely aura dependent, and that's because we started using Purposeful Harbinger. Aura buffs from skills have 8% increased effect for each herald affecting you, and this works on their auras. So that's different than my ring, which is 18% aura effect, because that would be my zealotry, but this works on other people's auras on you. So I was running Herald of Purity, Herald of Ash, Herald of Agony, Herald of Thunder, and Herald of Ice. Obviously the Herald of Ice actually gives me damage, so does the Thunder, but the other ones were literally just to make this 40% more aura effect. And that, then when we remembered and realized this, that made a very big damage difference. We were clicking bosses out of existence. Feared went down in seconds and stuff once we switched to this. So this was so cool. It was really, really good to play with an aura bot and using that. And then this was incredibly strong once we got this as well. We got this for a second or third Feared attempt, and that made a very, very big difference to the damage, because until then we were missing what? I have 9 power charges, so 27% more damage, right? Very big. And we were playing around with different gem links as well. I ended up using Hypothermia instead of Penetration because we had a curse bot and he did so much you know, negative resist. And yeah, I wasn't even res capped without my support. Really, really fun experience. So I've deleted the character. There's no character to see, but we have this PoB here, which we'll put in the description. I wouldn't recommend it. It definitely is doable on softcore, but you do need pretty crazy gear. And I know, like, for softcore specifically, Jung Roan has like a low life Slinger build that has a lot of success for him. I found Slinger very hard to make on hardcore to try to balance defenses and stuff. But yeah, it is fun to play, but I wouldn't recommend it, but I did want to make a video around it anyway. But I do think it's important to, like, I wouldn't like hype this up and be like, do this build, guys, it's awesome. It was pretty rough. You definitely need a lot of stuff. Very fun to play with aura bots. Again, there are better builds. If you have anything physical based, that's a lot stronger with aura bots, because you get physical damage as extra and conversion. But yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say. Just want to make a video, and I do have the separate video talking about like how I felt BPL went, etc. And yeah, hope you guys are enjoying everything. Also, if you have missed it, remember that the gauntlet has been announced. So there's a video on that as well. Again, as always, sub if you like the videos, but more importantly, try to die less than I do.